Rocky Mountain peak, rising boldly from America's vast central plains, just a few miles from the town of Colorado Springs. Deep within its 100-million-year-old granite heart lies one of mankind's most remarkable superstructures. A citadel of stone, steel, and microchips, where it is always twilight and no one ever sleeps. Instead, dozens of eyes maintain a second-by-second vigil over the skies around the world, looking for anything that could be the beginning of an attack on North America.
Suspect alert! Let's open up checklist 101-112.
Sir, we got an unknown in the system.
Radar picks up an unidentified object in the skies over central Russia.
DST is reporting an Eastern Quick Alert from Plesetsk, Russia.
It's traveling fast and heading toward the Pacific Ocean.
Stand by for possible missile event.
CD copies. Intel, what is your analysis?
Prompt response is vital to the defense of the nation. Highly trained teams scan intelligence reports to determine the correct action.
Sir, Intel assesses this to be the scheduled launch of an ICBM from Plesetsk with impact expected at the Kamchatka Peninsula.
And Intel assessed this as troop training.
Though it's a scenario that is played out hundreds of times, the men and women on duty here know that a moment like this could be the one that puts them to the ultimate test.
NORAD U.S. Space Complete recommend we terminate this conference.
This is the headquarters of the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD. Members of the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and the Canadian Armed Forces staff the NORAD operation centers. They work under the cover of a superstructure whose design and construction are as incredible as its high-tech capabilities. In a virtual world of computers, remote sensors, and speed-of-light telecommunications, they stand watch over the North American continent, perpetually devouring instantaneous data transmissions from a vast network of sensors on land, at sea, and in space. NORAD's eyes can not only see the entire surface of the Earth, they also gaze 22,500 miles up into the heavens, where they intently probe 27 trillion cubic miles of aerospace. From the smallest civilian airplane to the most sophisticated military satellite, nothing escapes them. NORAD personnel consider all airspace for 120 miles around the outer border of the United States and Canada critical to national security. It's called the Outer Identification Zone. NORAD must know the purpose of every aircraft there.
And as soon as an aircraft crosses the Outer Identification Zone, we start a 2-minute clicker, so we've got to figure out who that track is within 2 minutes. And if we can't figure out who it is, or there's no way to correlate that with an FAA flight plan, we declare the track unknown, and that's when we scramble interceptors and go out and figure out who that is by putting eyes on the target.
Yes, sir. I just want to let you know that we have an unknown over Canada right now.
On a given day, we have anywhere from 6,500 to 7,200 tracks. And we provide identification of every aircraft coming into North America. And that is a pretty sizable task given the fact that about 2.5 million tracks come into North America every year.
We are very rarely ever surprised in Cheyenne Mountain. We can't allow ourselves to be surprised.
NORAD U.S. Space has East DSP indication.
Cheyenne Mountain's labyrinth conceals NORAD's military wonders. Its existence has always been well known. Its tracking prowess is a matter of national pride. Its methods are top secret. How this superstructure came to be carved out of the inside of a mountain is one of the great feats of our century. 15 ingeniously constructed steel plate buildings house the command centers and the infrastructure that supports them through the endless hours of NORAD's vigilance. Stores of water, food, fuel, and a sophisticated air cleaning system provide life support for the complex. It can completely seal itself off from the outside world for more than 30 days.
Well, the first time I got here, I was lost. I really didn't know where I was going when you wander around because it's a pretty complicated complex inside. It's hard for people to imagine all the different levels of, different floors and different buildings that are here, and it's pretty overwhelming at first, but there's just a real sense of awe because the design is incredible. When you come into the large tunnel and through the blast doors and just realize what this was meant to survive, any kind of an attack during the Cold War. And the engineering behind it is just amazing to me still.
I guess my first impression when I walked into Cheyenne Mountain was just to say, wow, what an engineering marvel. Even though it was constructed over 30 years ago, I continue to be amazed at the technology resonant within the mountain.
Getting all this technology inside a mountain was one of the 20th century's toughest engineering challenges. The builders wrenched 460,000 cubic yards of hard rock from the core of the mountain and replaced it with 7,000 tons of steel, yards of concrete, and miles of wiring. What drove men to hollow out a mountain and build this amazing superstructure? It was fear. In the 1940s and 50s, mankind unleashed the power of the stars on the face of the planet. Nuclear weapons darkened America's post-war optimism with fears of Armageddon. Could anything survive this unparalleled destructive force? To have any chance of winning the unthinkable war, America had to build something that could. No one was sure it was possible. At the beginning of the nuclear age, the technology to build a working city deep within a mountain, strong enough to endure a nuclear blast, did not exist. No one knew how many problems engineers would face once a project of this magnitude was started, or how innovative and creative they would have to be to solve those problems. The call went out to America's most talented engineers, challenging them to create something totally new to defend against phenomena whose effects were mostly unknown.
In fall of 1958, I received a call to go to Omaha to meet with the Corps of Engineers to discuss a project. And that's how it all began for me.
I didn't know anything about Colorado Springs, didn't know anything about NORAD at that time.
In the late 1950s, Tom Kiesel and Steve Greenfield were young engineers with the New York firm of Parsons Brinkerhoff. Greenfield had proven skills on some of his company's toughest projects. He specialized in hardened underground defense facilities. His work was often highly classified. Kiesel was more of a specialist in tunnel design and bridges. He brought innovative solutions to engineering problems. But nothing they had done prepared them for the mysterious, top-secret atmosphere of engineering North America's survival. The young engineers and their colleagues were given an unprecedented task: to design and build quickly and economically a fortress that could survive the unsurvivable, the power of a new weapon that for the first time in history could destroy the entire human race. A weapon that was now in the hands of America's enemy. In 1949, the Soviet Union detonated a nuclear device. Soviet bombers armed with nuclear weapons could strike North American cities.